First up on the docket, the defending champs got in trouble.
Yes.
They lose their first round pick, and Coach Beckham gets suspended for the first 2 games. I'll get to the first 2 games later when we preview the games.
Right.
But that's not a story that I want to hear getting ready for a basketball season.
Well, I knew this was going to be something. I knew this was going to be pretty serious, actually. So in January, De'Erica Hamby got traded to the LA Sparks, and she immediately, within 24 hours, came out talked about that she was bullied and they were used unethical tactics about her being pregnant at the time and them not wanting to extend her contract because of that. And since then, she's had the baby and she is game ready. So she would have been ready for the season regardless. Maybe not in the most tip top shape, but she would have been available at least. They had a chance to go after Candace Parker's, what it ended up looking like. While they could not substantiate any of the claims regarding Candace, this was a violation of De'Erica Hamby's rights, her players' rights. And so a couple months ago, whenever we were doing the mini camp for Team USA, I had a chance to talk to Kelsey Plum, and this was obviously the elephant in the room. And she talked a lot about it and the fact that De'Erica is actually her very best friend. And not only is this her team that it is, she's also the VP of the Players Association. So it was her job to deal with this situation and levy whatever fines were needed. Them losing the first round pick, I don't know how serious that is for them because their roster is so loaded. But you never know if this is Candace's last season. You never know what type of injuries are going to happen. So there's still that aspect of like a worst case scenario that you do need to draft a generational talent, because this next draft coming up and the draft after that are looking like they are going to be the new faces of the WNBA, like generational type of talents. And so to miss out on that draft is big, but you're also the best and most loaded roster.
I gotta say, to be honest, Candace Parker can retire right now. Okay, what she does off the court.
But even still, when she was in Chicago last season, she was still a walking double-double. Like even in year 16, like she still is going to put up close to 20 points and double digits in the boards. Like it doesn't matter how old she gets. She's just going to be able to do it.
What she does with TNT, Turner Sports, that by itself, she can retire right now because she is phenomenal. Talking NBA basketball.
She is really good.
We're talking NBA basketball. She's not talking women's basketball. She's talking NBA basketball. And they can flip it and cover March Madness.
I do like some CP3.
And we're not talking about Chris Paul.
Right.
All right. That's the main topic of the day. And this is how the infraction came down and all this stuff. So, yeah. But they are still the defending champs.
It does. They are, and it does kind of raise some questions on Becky's legacy, I feel like. But it's also like, okay, so the Babs got fined for tanking their draft pick, and it ended up working out for them because they. Right. Well, this is also somewhat of a slap on her wrist. It's not. It's 2 games, and that's a little more serious than NBA because their season is half as long. So in the NBA, this would have been a 4-game suspension. Like it's not as bad. It's really not that bad. They'll be all right.
Mark Cuban got a slap on her wrist, and still got to keep his top 10 pick.
I kind of feel like they did too. You know what I mean? Vegas did too. Like losing the draft pick carries a little more weight than not having Becky for 2 games because I'm sure their coaching staff and their players are well aware of what is expected of them. But for them, it turned out to be worth it for the Mavericks, because they ended up getting the number 10 pick. If it had fallen to the number 11 pick, it would have gone to the New York Knicks. So for them, tanking worked out.
This is my difference.
And so this is.
I don't condone. Nobody around me should condone bullying. I don't care less what it is. Don't condone bullying whatsoever. Okay. Now you could have did a little more punishment. They probably did their investigation and they probably couldn't really find something substantial to make it bigger.
Right.
But
yeah.
What Mark Cuban did was intentional, and everybody knew it.
It was. I mean, but it was intentional what the Aces did too. I guess that's my point. I think to them, they had to just decide, was it worth it to them to violate De'Erica's rights and just move on from
I
her?
say this? Mark Cuban did it intentionally in front of everybody. Everybody knew. Oh, you just gonna sit everybody, huh? With a
Right.
chance to make the play, you just gonna say to everybody, "Yeah, exactly what I'm doing to do."
I mean, but it didn't look intentional to everybody whenever they went and picked up Candace Parker, and we were like, oh, well, that's why they traded De'Erica. It didn't look obvious to y'all. It
Because
did to
I
me.
know this. If Allison would have took that first round pick from Mark Cuban, they would have sent the message.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
would
Now that's true too.
don't you
Instead of the fine, just take the pick.
don't you ever try to tank again? Because everybody know the reason for tanking. You want that top 10 pick.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
What you got?
Right. Of course. Of course. Very true.
But Becky Hammond, you take your 2 games off and come back and be the coach that I know you are going to be because you is from that Greg Popovich tree. And your first year, you won the whole thing. Your first year.
And I know a lot of people were like, why is the coach being fined for this decision? She's the GM also.
Well, in the WNBA, when you're the head coach, you pretty much the president of basketball operations.
Right, yeah. But she's also the general manager, so it was completely her decision.
So, I mean, she's just more than a coach. Man, that's most coaches in the WNBA. They more than just the coach. They have other roles.
Right, a lot of them, yes.
All right, moving on. This one caught my attention. Right. I said, I got to do some reading on this because now you're saying that they can do what the NBA can do. Right. Something, but what are the particulars? And I found one distinctly, as you see in that box right there. A coach's challenge is now the only trigger, is the only way to trigger a review of an out of bounds violation. Which means no matter what the game is at, it could be in the waning seconds of the game. If they call out of bounds and they miss that call, they're not going to review it unless you call a timeout to review it. I'm like, that changes everything.
But it does change a lot. To me, it feels real similar to the pitch clock in baseball. I think they wanted to speed up the game. And, the last 2 minutes of a basketball game really take about 10 minutes, and it's because of that constant stoppage. And so I think that they wanted to speed that up in the women's game and just kind of make it more appealing, similar to what baseball has done.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
Oh, it's a problem.
If the refs caught a ball on one team, but we knew it went off that team,
right?
But the coach can't challenge it because he had to challenge something earlier. Mm-hmm. That's gonna turn fans off. Cause you simply
we'll see how it plays out for sure.
Because the WNBA didn't do what was needed to be done. Now I get it. We don't want a lot of reviews, but
right.
Most fans would like for you to get the call right.
Right.
They will take the time.
As we know, the refs have a hard time making the right call sometimes.
As long as you get the call right, we're good. Just get the right call. This gonna be a problem.
Yeah, no, it might end up just being a 1 year rule that's in place.
And it's gonna be a 1 year that's gonna cost a team a playoff spot.
Right.
This is, and now the rest of the challenges part of this is similar to the NBA. You only get one, whether you get it right or wrong. That's your one challenge, so you better be wise when you use your challenge. So you might have to let some stuff go earlier in the game to save it for later in the game.
Right. Yeah. Knowing that 2 minute period, especially if it's a close game, like that 2 minute period at the end of the game is so important that you need to have it on deck.
Just look at the Lakers from last night.
Right. Absolutely so.
But yeah, that caught my attention. So I had to read my details. I said, let me go in there and do some research because I need to know how this is going to work. There's going to be a lot of games lost because they caught a ball off the wrong team.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, yeah.
Oh man, this one hurts.
You see my head though, right?
Yeah, man, this one hurts. Like, um,
So first of all, I seen
man.
Henderson and I seen the Bill one get away. I'm like, well, dang, they just got there. Like, well,
Well,
Henderson was
Destiny got
there
there last year. She played
year,
there last year. Yeah.
but she just got drafted because I watched the WNBA draft.
Well, one that you're actually missing from the graphic is the number 11 pick from the WNBA
Oh, I
first
know.
round this year, and the Wings waived Abby Myers from Maryland. And so for me, that
Oh,
was
trust me,
crazy. But we had
it's a
multiple
whole
first round
list.
picks.
It's a
Yes.
whole list. It's a whole list of players. I couldn't get them all on one, so I had to get creative with what I did. Let's
Right.
see if I can
Um,
find it. Because
I do think Dee Richards will be picked up somewhere else. I feel like out
the
of the three on the
when that
screen,
when that happened,
yeah.
my heart dropped.
Well, but if you think about who's on their roster, they're so loaded. They got Courtney Vandersloot, they got Stephanie
Mhm.
Dolson, they've got of course got Brianna Stewart, they got Sabrina Ionescu, they got Bet Laney, and then did I say Vandersloot?
Mm.
Like they have so many, and Sabrina Ionescu, like they have so
Right.
many over there. Like I can kind of see. I mean, it stinks because Dee is really really talented, but
She's the fan
like
favorite.
right. Like I love Dee Dee. I think she would be a great fit in Seattle or Minnesota. Like, and she could probably be like a number 2 or a number 3 option in one of those teams. Like, she's that good, but the roster there in New York, it is what it is. Sandy Brondello is an experienced coach, and I trust her.
Yeah, because there's a lot of names on here that got waived, and I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. The
Even
WNBA
Iowa's
is the
even Iowa's own Monica Snow got it waived by the Sparks. I was like, wow.
yeah, that one was a little surprising to me because I felt like if there was a team that had a roster that needed some help, it would be the Sparks. Even though like they got the Agumake sisters, they got De'Erica, like they needed some guard help. And I think that while her size, she's pretty big. I think you could still put her in the 1 or the 2, and she could still run an offense.
Your team, yeah, I would let go Collier and Brown. That was just surprising as well.
You said Collier got cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised by that. I know it's shocking to the world because she was a number 1 draft pick, but she is one that just never really developed over last season. Like we didn't see her get a lot of minutes, or it was 2 seasons ago that she went number 1, and over those 2 seasons, we just didn't get her see her get a lot of playing minutes. Like in fact, so it was Charlie went number 1, and then Awak Kuye went number 2, who is from Finland. And we have seen her have a little more developed. She's one of the only ones ladies in the league who can dunk the ball. She's not going to be your starting center, but she's a good backup. And I think her time overseas really helped her develop more. Um, I still think Charlie could probably make a roster in the league somewhere, but it would have to be a team that's struggling. It'd have to be like Minnesota.